nuestro evento de Forbes Healthcare y me acompañan Andrew Martin, presidente de Pfizer América Latina, y Florencia Davel, vicepresidente de América Latina y Centro de Excelencia de Mejores Distribuidores de Bristol Myers Squibb. Thank you very much, Andrew and Florencia, for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Florencia, for the invitation. What a pleasure to share the panel with Andrew, too.
Thank you, Florencia. Indeed, it is a pleasure to be here with both of you today, and I very much look forward to the conversation.
Great. So we have a lot of topics to tackle on. So we can start. I mean, it's been 3 years since the beginning of the pandemic. Really hectic years, for lack of a better word. But where is the balance of these 3 years, and especially which were the main learnings and breakthroughs that you have in this couple more years and in both your companies? Just to start with a little topic.
Yeah. Lorenzo, would you like to start?
Yeah, start, please. Go on.
No, would you like to start on? I'm happy to start. Oh, whatever.
Yes, go.
Okay.
Let's go.
It's okay. Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, thank you. So at Pfizer, our purpose is to deliver breakthrough medicines to patients who need them, regardless of where they live or their socioeconomic condition. And to do that, we believe in and invest heavily in the power, the precision, and the possibility of science to confront the greatest challenges we face in humankind. And it's that belief that allowed us to develop a vaccine in 9 months. I'm proud of that. But what I'm really proud of are the partnerships that we formed across the region. In total, we signed 14 bilateral agreements that allowed us to deliver more than 500 million doses of our vaccine to citizens across the region. We also delivered more than 500 million doses to COVAX, the United Nations facility, at no or little cost. More than 25% of those units also went to Latin America. And so I'm really proud of the impact and the footprint that we left in the region as a result of that important discovery. So I'm proud, but I'm not satisfied. As both of you know, the region suffered disproportionately relative to the rest of the world. GDP declined by almost 9%. We lost more than 1 million lives. And so we clearly have to do better. But what we learned from the pandemic is the power of not just science, but of public-private partnerships. And when we work together in a collaborative way against a shared opportunity or challenge, we can make the impossible possible. And so my hope is that we capture that learning moving forward. And we recognize that we all have important roles to play on the Pfizer side, and the same is true with BMS. As we want to continue to develop and innovate medicines, but we need partnerships with governments to enable access to those innovative medicines. Otherwise, they don't create the value in which they were intended.
And Florencia, as Andrew said, we are unified by a same purpose, that is transform patients' lives through science. And when we talk about breakthroughs, we have seen significant advancements in the last years, as we have never seen in our life. Starting with therapies like vaccines that you mentioned, Andrew, and treatments for HIV, hepatitis B and C, and cancer. And in fact, we have developed, and we were pioneers in immunotherapy, bringing solutions to many patients with cancer. And additionally, I would say that something that has been transformational was the adoption of technology in the way we can predict diseases, patient diseases, and we can find the right treatment for the right patient at the right time. And we were able to treat more than 15,000 patients last year. We always said that we touch the lives of patients and all the environment that is around those patients. And also what I would like to highlight is investment that as an industry we make in Latin America. So we have made in the last 2 years 1 billion investment in clinical research, and BMS is planning to invest in the next 5 years $200 million to accelerate breakthroughs and to bring more like 50 early assets that we have in our pipeline to an earlier stage in our portfolio.
Great. So you both talk about a lot of things that I would like to to go deep, we talk about cooperation, you talk about investment, and about breakthrough and technologies. So maybe first, how has the pandemic and the last years changed the pace of innovation in the industry? And there has been a lot of increase in the speed of the breakthroughs. So what are the main drivers? I would like to think that maybe technology is one of them, but what are the main drivers behind that acceleration, and how has the pandemic changed that pace of innovation? Can you start now, Flor?
Well, that's great. I would say that, as I said before, we have seen an acceleration in the way we adopted technology, and that allow us to accelerate the breakthroughs and science development across the world. And also we have seen more partnerships. Andrew mentioned that in terms of the public and private system, and also an acceleration in the clinical trials development. One of our key priorities and learnings from the pandemic, due to the impact that we had on our patients and our communities, has been how we are more prepared from the supply perspective, how we ensure that we guarantee the supply to patients, and how we can accelerate the timelines of the development of clinical trials, and to ensure that we provide medicines to more patients in more countries faster. And overall, I would say that we have seen significant results due to the pandemic. Many patients were impacted by, particularly in Florencia, in the time to be diagnosed and the time to get access to treatment. So we have seen a significant impact during the last 2 years, and we are seeing little by little a recovery in terms of attention or getting access, but we are not still there. So this is a significant challenge that we have in Latin America, how we can facilitate the patient journey, how we can facilitate the diagnosis, how we can work more on prevention, and to ensure that we provide this level of access that we want for patients to innovation.
Great. Andrew?
I think that's exceptionally well said, Florencia. At Pfizer, we believe in a future where science wins and disease doesn't. And the only way we realize that vision is through innovation. And for us, innovation means the creation of medicines and vaccines that fundamentally transform or change the trajectory of a disease. And the ultimate goal, of course, is to find or identify medicines that can produce a cure. As Florencia said, those vaccines and medicines have no value if we can't get them into the hands of patients that need them. And that's why the realization of the value that innovation can bring to healthcare has to require everyone in the ecosystem to work together. One area where we all have common ground is in the shared interest of improving the quality and the delivery of healthcare across the region. And so we stand ready, as does Florencia and everyone in the industry, to partner with governments and non-governmental organizations across the region to accelerate the availability of innovative medicines. That will require regulatories to strengthen the frameworks, to use reliance mechanisms where possible. It will require pharmaceutical companies to work in partnership with governments to create value-based outcomes agreements that allow for innovative medicines to be available to patients. And it will require a collective effort to bridge the gap that exists between the large cities and the millions of people in our region who live in rural or remote areas. And so for us, that is really a principal area of focus, is trying to create a system that's not only reliant on innovation and new technologies, but it's equitable and just, where everyone, regardless of where they live, has access to those innovations.
And you talk about working together, right? Like with the different obvious participants of the ecosystem, but to innovate and to get this innovation to the patients, do you need to partner up with our companies, with other teams, multidisciplinary? Maybe when we think about healthcare and technology in healthcare, is maybe the secret formula concept that was a thing maybe before, but is this changing now, and do we have to work together?
I would say, Florencia, that we, as Andrew said, we need to partner with entire ecosystem. So we need to ensure that we have a multi-stakeholder approach. Just to provide you an example from Bristol Myers Squibb, we have made an alliance. It's a coalition that we call All Can, and it's a program to address patients' needs, particularly on the cancer side, where we partner with scientific societies, with other companies, with physicians, to ensure that we have the data. That sometimes is one of the key challenges that we have in Latin America, to have epidemiological data, to ensure that we support the patients during the journey. So this is an example of a coalition that where we involve multiple stakeholders. And I would say then we make also partnerships with NGOs, like patients organizations. Like one of the examples is that we have at BMS is Vivir con Cáncer, is Living with Cancer, where we partner with the Oncology Association, and we tell patient stories. So we generate awareness around the cancer treatment and the importance of early treatment. And also we create awareness of the disease. We put a name to the cancer itself. And those are examples. Apart from something that we learned from the last years, the importance, as I said before, of the private and public system partnering, the way we need to work together to ensure, as Andrew mentioned before, one of our key priorities is health equity as a pharma industry, and it's as part of the trade association, the regional trade association objective, is how we provide and we ensure that we have an equitable system, healthcare system, and we have clinical trials diversity also. And for that, we need to partner, and we need to work together with governments. We need to work together across the industry with the same purpose, with a patient centricity approach.
I just returned this morning from Panama City, Panama, where I had the opportunity to participate in what I think is a brilliant example of the type of cross-industry, public-private collaboration that is going to be essential to realizing our collective vision of creating an equitable healthcare system. I participated along with members or representatives of more than 19 governments across the region, more than 60 representatives from civil society, including peers from many multinational pharmaceutical companies, in the first America's Rise for Health Forum. It is a public-private partnership that was supported by the U.S. government, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, U.S. Department of State, Human Health Services, designed for a simple purpose, and that is to substantially improve the quality and delivery of healthcare across the region. And we had the opportunity to discuss, debate, and think through the areas of focus that are required for improvement to realize that vision. And so we collectively have signed a declaration of intent to focus on healthcare financing, strengthening regulatory frameworks, establishing mechanisms to drive equity in the delivery of healthcare, increasing the level of education of both patients and physicians, all of which are designed to ensure that we're bringing the resources, the talent and capabilities from government and private sector to bring to bear against the challenges that we face in delivering quality healthcare in the region. So I surface that to say it's something that we should all be really proud of. It's a forum that I'm convinced will produce meaningful and real change in the region in the next couple of years, and it's change that this region deserves.
Great. And usually you talk about it in the vaccine, but how long does it take for an innovation to effectively reach patients? Usually, I know it's not the same time for different treatments, but
I think the biggest challenge we face in delivering innovation into Latin America are the timeframes. And in fact, Latin America lags behind most of the developed world, and in many cases, even other emerging markets, in our ability to make innovative medicines and vaccines available. On average, there's a 3.5 to 4 year gap between regulatory approval and access in US and in Western Europe relative to Latin America. that is a fundamental challenge that we need to collectively tackle. Our goal is to ensure that no patient is left behind, and no one in Latin America deserves to wait or should be forced to wait 3.5 or 4 years to benefit from the innovations that our industry are putting forward. And so again, I think you're hearing a common theme from Florencia and I, and that we've got, the way we solve this is to work together in a private-public manner to ensure that not only are we investing appropriately in the right medicines and vaccines to tackle the most substantial challenges we have in healthcare today, but governments are deploying the resources necessary to strengthen regulatory frameworks and to enable access from a financial perspective to those medicines in a shorter time frame.
And I would say, Florencia, so reinforcing what Andrew said, that we have seen with vaccines an unprecedented speed of development. And I would say, but generally, when we talk about specialty molecules, it takes more than 15, 20 years on research and development. And then if you consider that only 1 of 1,000 of those molecules see the light and go to the market, it's a significant investment. That's why it's important to ensure that for the research-based companies that we have intellectual property in those markets, to ensure that then after we launch to the markets, we have the level of access to innovation for those patients, for the unmet medical needs, where we are currently focused, specifically unmet medical needs. So that I think is key, where when you talk about how we can accelerate the access, I would say, well, how we can shorten those times of development, and how we can ensure that we have the regulatory framework, as Andrew mentioned before, through reliance, harmonization process. I know that there are some initiatives across Latin America right now talking about reliance and how we harmonize regulatory processes, and I would say that's a point where we can really pave the way in bringing more innovation to more patients in the region.
Great. And what kind of pathologies are currently needing more solutions? I know this is like general, but
well, in the case of, I would say, the pathologies that need more solution and the ones that are with specifically unmet medical needs. So where you have like unmet medical needs that are not satisfied with current treatments, or you can provide also is not what we call is like a new innovation that we can provide with new indications, with new formulations, with new ways of administration. So this is innovation too, you know, it's not only the molecule itself. So the ways we provide these treatments for patients that are more friendly to administer for them. And impact the quality of lives of those patients. At Bristol Myers Squibb, we are currently, so I can talk about specifically the unmet needs that we covered. We have been pioneers in oncology. We have launched the immunotherapy. For the immunotherapy, I know that you all know that in 2018, we had two winners, or two physicians that were awarded with a Nobel Prize due to the discovery of the immunotherapy that significantly changed the lives of patients. So we are talking about patients right now that I have one case that I would always love to share. It was the patient week that we had in across the world, that we celebrate the patient week, that is who we work for. And we have the case of Lorena, that is a patient that has lung cancer, and she shared with us, publicly shared. That's why I can share with all of you, telling her story that she's in remission right now, and that's a significant advancement. So I would say that we are mainly focused on oncology, hematology, and immunoscience, and now we are broaden our portfolio. We are having a younger portfolio, more diversified portfolio, covering other diseases that are with unmet medical needs, like psoriasis, cardiovascular diseases, neurology diseases. So I think we are, as pharma companies, it's not only BMS and research-based companies, we are bringing more innovation in multiple disease areas, and working more with the precision medicine, targeting the medicine and targeting the medicines according to specific needs, to ensure that the medicines are delivered to the right patient at the right time.
And our focus at Pfizer is on developing innovative medicines and vaccines that enable us to impact millions of lives around the world. And so we're focused on tackling cardiometabolic conditions, including diabetes and obesity. We're clearly focused on oncology, as evidenced by our recent statement of intent to acquire Seagen, a company that uses novel technologies, antibody drug conjugate technologies, which allow us to deliver chemotherapy loads in a manner similar to a laser-guided missile that allows us to focus on a very specific biomarker, delivering that treatment specifically to those cancer cells and tumors with the goal of sparing the tissue surrounding that tumor. We're focused on the use of our mRNA platform, the platform that we use to develop our COVID vaccine, a platform that's demonstrated incredible speed, agility, and we believe has the capacity to enable us to tackle not just vaccine preventable diseases or transmissible diseases like SARS-CoV-2, but we're exploring its application in oncology, in cardiometabolic conditions. We continue to be focused on respiratory and other immunomodulatory diseases. These are, again, diseases that are creating substantial impact and burden on the healthcare system on a global basis, and are unfortunately leading to, in many cases around the world, lower levels of life expectancy. And so, we're focused both on the prevention side and on the treatment side, and are very keen, as is Florencia has noted with BMS, on trying to find novel platforms that enable us to move with more precision and more speed, so we can get innovative medicines into the hands of people faster.
And how do you determine where it makes more sense to invest more in innovation or where to focus? How's that decision-making process?
I would say, as Florencia, as Sandro pointed out, and I said before, it's first starting with considering the unmet medical need that we have. And it's important to detect where are the opportunities in terms of treatment for those patients that they are waiting to change their lives and to be impacted in their quality of life. So when we have a specific need, and as I said before, innovation is not only to bring innovation to the market, to bring a new molecule. You can bring and reinvent, or you can bring advancements all in the same molecule, and such as, for example, in oncology, we have the same product with that covers more than 10 types of cancers, and so from lung, melanoma, skin, and renal, bladder, so you can expand the scope of treatment with the same molecule. So that's innovation. And the second point is that something that is important to evaluate is the access environment. I would say to bring innovation to a market, and talking about when you develop the innovation and then you think about bringing this innovation, launch a product or not launch a product in the market, I would say that it's critical to ensure that first it's an unmet need, is not covered yet by other companies or by other products, and the access environment is flexible and it's open to innovation for those patients. Not talking about, regulatory should be also regulatory environment also there, the physicians that the platform is ready to launch and to adopt that new medicine also is critical. So that you have the platform to ensure that those patients are treated according to what is needed.
Our goal, Florencia, is to produce medicines that create giant leaps in our progress in human health. We're not looking to innovate medicines or vaccines that produce incremental change. And so we're looking to identify those disease states where there is massive unmet need and where we believe our technology, our capabilities, and investments can produce massive transformational change at a maximal level on a global basis.
Great. You talk, Florencia, about precision-based medicine, right? So can you tell me what's the role of the precision-based medicine? Especially, I know in cancer and treatment, but what projects are you working on? And then Andrew, too, if you are working with, I think precision-based medicine is something we are all going to hear about.
We can complement together. I would say that precision medicine is key, and more than ever right now when we talk about medical development, science development, and breakthrough therapies. In the last years, we have seen significant advancements in that field, particularly due to the precision medicine, because we are able to better understand the biology of the diseases due to technology, to biotechnology, due to precision medicine. And precision medicine allows you to deliver the right treatment to the right patient, as I said, at the right time, and to ensure that this is a specific treatment, and also it implies like more efficiencies for the health system, because it at the end impacts the whole of a health system in a country, in a region, in a world. And we have the strategy with biomarkers, and as I mentioned before, with oncology has been a tremendous advance for us, because it has given us the possibility also to help physicians and to help patients in their treatments, to facilitate, at the end, it's translating an overall survival of the disease, in a better response, and at the end you can treat earlier and having the response you need in a certain period of time.
And from a Pfizer perspective, I highlighted earlier our proposed acquisition of Seagen and the antibody drug conjugate technology that they employ is a great example of our commitment to precision medicine. I think the mRNA platform that I highlighted earlier, the platform that enabled us in less than 9 months to produce a vaccine to prevent severe disease and hospitalization from the SARS-CoV-2 virus, is another great example of our commitment to precision medicine. We're investing heavily in that platform and now have vaccines that we're developing to protect against the flu. We're developing a combination flu and COVID vaccine. We're producing a new vaccine on that platform for shingles. And as I mentioned earlier, we are exploring the application of that technology to enable us to develop both medicines and vaccines in the oncology space, in inflammation and immunology, and more broadly in cardiometabolic conditions. We're at the very forefront of the use of this technology. And so we believe we're on the verge of a scientific renaissance using the types of technologies that Florencia mentioned, along with mRNA, antibody drug conjugates, and many others. And so it's a really exciting time in the industry, where I really believe that collectively as an industry, we're going to create substantial leaps in human health by employing these types of targeted and precision technologies.
And as you said, Andrew, we are pushing the boundaries in terms of the treatment and how we are advancing and impacting the quality of life and lives of so many patients in the world. With vaccines, with immunotherapy, with CAR T cells, with cell therapies, with molecular, biomoleculars, biologics. So we are changing the treatment of health significantly, I would say, and also embracing technology, artificial intelligence, the use of data to make appropriate decisions.
Florencia, I think you can sense, I hope you sense the collective sense of energy and optimism that both Florencia and I share for the future and promise of science within our industry.
It's exciting. So you both oversee Latin America, and that's quite different. It's a really big and different market because you have a lot of different countries, but we are in Argentina. Well, I'm in Argentina right now, but how do you see Argentina in this Latin America map? What are the challenges you face in Argentina, and if you think that maybe when we have some local problems here, economic problems, and do you see what are our weak points, and if maybe these weak points sometimes lead to more innovation or not? You can start, Florencia.
Well, I would say, as an Argentinian, you know, I've been living in Argentina my whole life, and I'm based here, and we have the Latin American region based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I can tell you that I've been navigating and surfing, I would say, this complex environment my whole life. When I finished the high school, the inflation was 2,000% a year. So I would say that I've been navigating. For me, inflation is, you know, something that I really know. But I would say, you know, talking about the advantages that I see, I would like to start with the strengths that I see of operating in Argentina. Argentina for us is and I would say that, Andrew, you can confirm it, is for pharma industry, is an important market. It's a really important market in Latin America. It's one of the biggest markets that we have. The level of access to innovation, even though we are not there, like we have in cancer, we have 13% of access to innovative therapies in cancer, is not at the same level. And if we see the healthcare expenditure is right below the health worldwide, or the Health Worldwide Organization. So I would say that we are not at the level we want, but I would say in Argentina we have seen a significant improvement in the clinical trials approval. So we have shortened the time 3 times in the last years, and that has allowed the pharma industry at BMS particularly, I would say, to increase the level of clinical trials, to ensure that we have the clinical trials diversity. We represent, and we have an important representation in Argentina across the world. We were the first top enrollers in many diseases in clinical trials. And also we have, I would say, we have the talent here. We have medical knowledge. We have a level of adoption to innovation is very high in Argentina. And we have seen that compared to other healthcare systems. We are not, as I said, we are not there. We need to work on reliance from the regulatory side. We need to work on also to shorten more the clinical trials approval, to bring more investment to the country. But I would say those are the key advantages. And from the company perspective, from BMS perspective and leading Latin America, I would say the 3 pillars are focus on key priorities, because we cannot we have a diversified portfolio. Not all products are for this time for all countries, and sometimes, as you mentioned before, it's not a specific unmet medical need because it's already covered in the system. So those are the things that we evaluate, to focus our priorities, to focus on new product launches, to focus on unmet medical needs, to simplify our processes, to ensure that we, with sense of urgency, we ensure that we accelerate the processes to bring internally from the company, because sometimes we need to work, many times we need to work internally to accelerate decision-making processes, to ensure that we deliver the medicines at the right time with sense of urgency. So in fact, it's one of our values, sense of urgency, I would say. And the third point, again, in Argentina, it's a leading market in terms of innovation. It's a hub of innovation. We have seen in Argentina many initiatives, and I can share some initiatives that were developed in Argentina, like Idealist, that brings the clinical trials at earlier stages, like in phase 1 to our countries. And also a program that we call Essence, that works on health equity, articulating public and private system in order to provide more access to more patients in terms of clinical trials, to bring clinical trials to the public sector and to patients that are without coverage. And Argentina has been a market, you know, and a country that has been opened to that innovation, and that innovation has been expanded and now has been taken by other markets across the world. So to sum up, I would say many opportunities, of course, navigating the economic environment, that it has been complex, and it's even more complex, I would say. We expect to have more complexity for the upcoming months, but in terms of innovation, good opportunities, and good opportunities to bring access to more patients.
Let me start with a personal reflection. I've had the opportunity over the last 7 or 8 years to visit Argentina more than a dozen times, and it's honestly one of my favorite countries in the world. I love the people, I love the culture, I love the landscape. I absolutely love the beef and the occasional glass of wine.
Yeah, that's and the wine. I hope the wine too.
The wine is my favorite. I have plenty of Malbec here at home as a reflection of my love for the country. From a professional perspective, Argentina is absolutely one of the most critical regions or countries, I'm sorry, for us in the region. We've operated proudly for almost 70 years in the country. We have more than 550 committed colleagues who wake up every day with a focus on improving the quality of life in Argentina. We have a manufacturing facility in the country and have had that for a number of years that produces not just for Argentina, but for other countries in the region. Argentina is one of the largest clinical trial sites for Pfizer in the world. In the last 3 years, we've invested more than $165 million on clinical trials in Argentina. And in fact, Argentina was the single largest site in the clinical trial program for our COVID vaccine. So all very clear examples of our commitment to the country. We firmly believe that Argentina has the infrastructure, the technological capabilities, the talent, and the desire to be a world leader, not just in clinical trials, but in the innovation of medicines. And I know there's a thriving and robust local pharmaceutical manufacturing scene in Argentina, which is important because, again, if our collective mission is to improve the health of society, we all need to play a role in that. And so the future for Argentina, from our perspective, is bright. Yes, it's not without its challenges. The current economic conditions do make it more difficult for us to do some of the things that we would like to do, but we continue to invest. And in fact, we'll launch 3 or 4 new innovative medicines in oncology, migraine, endocrinology, just this year alone. And we'll continue to launch new assets in the country in the coming years. And we'll do that with the goal of making sure that we make those medicines available to everyone in Argentina, regardless of where they live. That requires investment and commitment on behalf of our colleagues in the country. And so, in summary, like Florencia, Argentina is a hugely important market for us. We've got great confidence in the prospects for growth as we move forward, and we'll continue to invest in that manner.
Yes,
Right.
and Florencia, maybe to complement on what Andrew said, talking about the advantages and that we see in Argentina, I would say from Bristol Myers Squibb perspective also, we are planning to invest significantly in clinical trials in the next years, more than $60 million. We are planning to launch more than 9 new products in the upcoming 2 years, and again, as we said before, in unmet medical needs, and to be the leaders in those therapeutic areas, in psoriasis in immunoscience, in cardiovascular, in melanoma, in areas where we don't have other therapies that cover those diseases for patients, those serious diseases. And we're planning to impact more than 1,000 patients in Argentina. So it's significant investment, and we have more than 200 people working here, and we have a huge base of research and development. That's why we together, Andrew's team in Argentina and my team, they emphasize together with the Trade Association, the importance that Argentina has in the region. That is the main hub in clinical research and innovation in Latin America.
So we can expect a lot of innovation and good news from both companies in the next years.
I expect it. Yeah, indeed.
Well, Florencia, Andrew, thank you very much both for your time and for being here with us and for telling us all about this good news.
Thank you, Florencia, and thank you, Andrew. It has been a first panel that we shared, and I would say it has been a tremendous pleasure. And again, being united by the same purpose, to work every day for patients.
Well said, Florencia. It was a pleasure joining this panel with you and getting to know you better. And Florencia from Forbes, thank you very much for the opportunity. It was an honor to participate in this important conversation.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Florencia.
Thank you.
Thank you to Forbes Argentina. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.